Sophia! How did I not download Audible when I got my phone? Why do apps and accounts lock you out after like 3 attempts? Do they know how many variations of the same password I've made in my lifetime?
Will you say when I'm gone away, my lover came to me and we...
Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel for today's video. It is the 21st day of October, and for today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of my must-read inspirational books. This was one of those videos that you guys have been requesting for some time now, and I wanted to film it after I knew I had a good collection to show you guys. And now that I've officially read these books, I'm actually going to move on. I have a second list now of motivational books that I want to go through, so if you guys ever want a part 2 or for me to continue this on in terms of like motivational reads or get your life together kind of books, then definitely just let me know down below or thumbs up this video, because I can make this like a mini series within our like bookworm series. Oh my god, I should make a bookworm playlist on YouTube. Why haven't I done that yet? So really quick, if you guys aren't following me already, be sure to check out my Twitter and my Instagram. I also tend to tweet out anytime I'm reading a new book, so you'll always be updated on what I'm reading there, as well as on my Goodreads, which I will link down below. And other than that, if you guys want to see my top motivational must-read books, then just keep watching. So the first book on my motivational must-reads is You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. If you've been watching my videos for some time now, you've probably heard me talk about this book a million times. I don't even physically have it here because I've lent it out to somebody, but I do have it on my phone as well. And this is probably, out of all of the books that I could list in this video, this is probably the one that I come back to the most and have read the most. I'm not kidding you guys, I'm pretty sure I've read You Are a Badass like 6 times now. That's how addicting this one is. This is always like my go-to to go back to whenever I'm just feeling like I'm in a slump, whenever I'm feeling like really down about myself, or like I need that motivational boost to feel good about not only my life, but even just my perspective on the world. It says it in the title. You read it and afterwards you just feel like a badass. Like you want to go charge at life full force and push yourself to see not only how much you can accomplish, but who you can be, and to push yourself to kind of be your best self. So I highly recommend, if you guys have not read You Are a Badass, to give it a read. If you don't like physical reading books, I love the audio version of it as well. And the best part about this book is because, I mean, you can tell by the title that it's a little bit more laid back, but she's also just super relatable within it, and the stories that she tells are very, like, every single story she has to tell you about her experience in life, it seems to be like there's a memory that you can pull up that totally relates to it. So I highly recommend it, and it's definitely my #1 when it comes to motivational must-reads. My second motivational must-read is a very close second to You Are a Badass, and it's another really laid-back title called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***. This one is by Mark Manson, and this is kind of like an accessory to the You Are a Badass. They go so well. If you take the lessons from both of them and mesh them together, I feel like you just cannot lose at life. The thing I like about this book is it stops making everything seem so difficult, and it just whittles it right back down to being true to who you are and just saying screw it to everything else. And not in like a I don't care about anything, I don't care about anyone kind of way, but in a way that it shows you how you spend your life thinking and caring about the wrong things, and it tells you how to stop caring about those things so that you have more time, space, and energy to care about things that really truly matter, like living your best life, the people that you care about the most, the life lessons that the universe is trying to teach us at all times, so many things like that. This is also a very good book to read if you are somebody that, again, struggles with, you know, like self-doubt and things like that. I also found this one helped out a lot too. One thing I recall from this book that really helped me was he talks at one point about like the mind spiral that we go into, where you get anxious and then you feel anxious about being anxious, and then you feel anxious for feeling anxious for feeling anxious, and you just spiral out. Or, you know, you feel bad about something and then you feel bad for feeling bad, and it just kind of goes into this whole spiral that we get to in our mind sometimes. And he totally puts it in such a way that it's so easy to pick up the life lessons that he's learned and that he's trying to, you know, share. They're so easy to integrate into your own life. So I definitely highly recommend this book too, and I also have the audiobook of this one as well, especially if you're someone that has to drive to and from work. Like for me, I started listening to audiobooks every time I drive to Greg's or home from Greg's, because it is one of the most stressful drives ever. The traffic in Toronto can be so crazy and it can be so toxic, so I find listening to books like this in the car are not only a great way to multitask for your drive home, but they're also just, they keep you in a positive mindset. So definitely check this book out too if you haven't already. The third book that I have to show you guys is called Bold. Now, the story behind me picking up this book was just a year ago. I went on an impromptu trip to LA on my own. This was very spur of the moment at the end of October last year, actually, where I just needed to get out and I needed to like gain some headspace. So I went to LA, and in the airport on the way back home, I don't know why, but I was picking up water and snacks and I felt very drawn to this book, probably from the bold print. Reading the front cover, it said 212 charisma and small talk tips to engage, charm, and leave a lasting impression. Now, maybe you're someone watching this that totally doesn't need this book, but anyone out there that suffers with any kind of social anxiety, this book is going to be like, it's literally a lifesaver. I don't know how to fully explain the feeling, but if you've ever been in a situation where sometimes even just the most simple like etiquette, i.e. saying thank you, saying hello to somebody, awkward silences with a stranger, meeting a boyfriend's parents, anything like that just seems so overwhelmingly daunting that you get anxious, or maybe you don't get as affected as, you know, feeling like full-blown panic, but you get nervous and you get unsure about what to say, what's the right thing to do. This book is amazing. It honestly teaches you not only how to go at every situation, it teaches you how to be more charismatic. It tells you just small little tips and tricks to, you know, be more engaging in conversation and to hook people into you more and to give the best impression of yourself out there. Because I, like, speaking from experience, I get so nervous and I get such bad social anxiety sometimes around people that I feel like I give such a horrible impression of myself, that I seem quiet or I seem reserved, or maybe I seem like I'm uninterested or I'm not happy. Not only am I back to the spiral, getting anxious then about being anxious and then getting more anxious about how people might perceive my anxiety. This book is one of those books that I always kind of try to pick up every now and then. It gives you that little bit of confidence of having a bit of an idea of how to deal with certain situations. So you almost have like a template and you fill it in to the situation you're in or the person you're talking to. So this one has helped a lot with my social anxiety and I highly recommend picking it up. If I can find links to all these books, by the way, guys, I will definitely pop them down below, by the way. So the fourth book in my motivational must-reads is Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso. I actually recently finished reading this probably about a month ago, and oh my god, I was so addicted. I mean, I'm sure you guys obviously probably know from the title that it's all about being a girl boss. It's very empowering to read, especially as a female, and it's not only good for teaching you life lessons when it comes to, you know, going after your dreams, being a legitimate girl boss, and just taking control over your success and your happiness, but it also just teaches you the fundamental mindsets and perspective of being a confident, like, girl. So I feel like if you're a female, then you should read this book solely for that reason, because in our world and in our society, I definitely think we're seeing a lot more girl bosses. I think we're seeing a lot more girl empowerment and confidence, but I still think that it can be really hard to grow up a girl in this world, especially with social media. Sophia Amoruso is just so cool and I just want to be her best friend, and so when you read this book, it's kind of like that. It's like, in a way, you are being her best friend, and she's just giving you so much, not only cool perspectives and cool stories, but she just makes you feel cool by reading it. Does that make sense? So I highly recommend this book if you're looking to get motivational, not only just for your life, but also in terms of work and success. And she even gets as informative as teaching you like to be more frugal with your money and to save more. So this is definitely a must-read book when it comes to my list. The fifth book that I have to show you guys is actually by Demi Lovato, and just a disclaimer, I'm not even like a massive fan, I would say, of Demi Lovato. I like her a lot, but she's just not normally my style of music. But that said, this book is something that I feel like everybody could possibly pick up. Whether you like reading or not, this book will work for you because it's honestly one page a day. So you don't actually have to read through chapters. You can pick it up and go to exactly today's date. And all of them are just little life lessons. Some of them start with a really motivational quote. Some of them just kind of give you a perspective to go into the day with, especially anyone out there that deals with any sort of mental health. This is such a positive and uplifting book that you can just pick up and read every single morning or maybe every night before you go to bed. So for today's, for instance, never give up. We've all heard this phrase countless times in our lives. It's only through living this motto that I've come to understand why so many cliched phrases are so truthful. Sometimes when your dreams and your faith are challenged, it's not that all hope is lost. Instead, it just means you're being tested. When you rise above the challenges and show the universe that you want it in spite of everything, your prayers will be answered and your dreams will be fulfilled. Goal: think about what it is you really love doing in this life and keep chasing it. So it's just kind of little daily paragraphs like that, and there's one for every single day in the year. And some of them get your mind working, some of them just make you feel positive before you start your day, some of them make you feel grateful. So that is why I'm putting it on this list, because not only is it super easy and light to read, but I also just enjoy the concept of it, and that it's a little piece of like positivity that you can read once a day. The next book I have to show you guys is The 4 Agreements, and this is by Don Miguel Ruiz, and I believe I've talked about this book with you guys many times before. This is one of those books that the first time I read it, I didn't fully understand a lot of it, and I remember being confused and thinking, I'm definitely gonna have to reread this because I don't understand what this guy's talking about. But then by the second and third time I read it, I was so hooked, and it's one of those books that I try to reread at least once a year. This one's definitely a bit more on the spiritual side. It makes you just want to be so pure and light after. That's the only way I can describe it. And what it's about is it breaks down like the 4 fundamental agreements that you should make with yourself and with the universe, and by living through those 4 agreements, create a reality or the dream around yourself that becomes successful. And in a lot of ways, you know, the law of attraction, it attracts better things for you, and it makes your life just a positive and an uplifting experience. So the 4 agreements that he actually talks about are being impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And by living through those 4 rules that you kind of create for yourself, you can't really fail, if that makes any sense. So if you do decide to pick this book up and you're totally confused the first time reading through, I promise you, read it a second or third time and it'll wake up your soul in such a way that you'll feel so connected to the world and connected to yourself. I always feel so corny when I say things like that, but it honestly does. Reading books like this and the other ones that I'm mentioning, they're just such an easy way to kind of stay connected with the positive and the happier things in life, and also just stay more connected with your own soul's purpose. And I know that that sounds super lame and cliche, but I just feel like in a world where we see so much negativity on a daily basis, it's important to constantly keep little bits of positivity in our life, which sounds like it's the outro, but I actually have one more book to tell you guys about, and that is Adventures for Your Soul by Shannon Kaiser. So again, I don't actually have the physical book with me because I lent it to my sister, but basically Adventures for Your Soul it's a breakdown of 21 ways to transform your habits and your perspectives to live your life to your full potential. So in a lot of ways, it's a very similar vibe to like You Are a Badass. But again, this author kind of goes through her journey, and the part of this book that I really connected with the most is she's so open and honest about the fact that, you know, she thought she had life figured out, only to find herself, you know, feeling depressed or falling back into bad habits, and then having to learn and work her way through those again. And I think that that is what makes this book so good and so relatable, is because a lot of the times when you read motivational books, you put all this pressure on yourself after reading it, thinking, okay, I have to live by this, and there should be no excuses for me ever failing or falling into bad habits again, or being, you know, grumpy or having a bad day. I should always have good days from now on because I've learned this incredible knowledge, and it's just not true. In this book, she talks a lot about how she would constantly yo-yo in and out of having the right kind of perspectives in life and having the wrong kind of perspectives in life, and following happy and healthy habits and then falling back into bad and self-sabotaging habits. And so that is what I loved the most about this book. It's just so relatable and it's so easy to connect with, and it breaks everything down into 21 like easy chapters that you can totally live by. So I definitely recommend picking it up. Again, I had the audiobook version of that book as well, and it was incredible. So if you're watching this and let's say you've already read You Are a Badass, and I definitely recommend this as like something similar if you guys enjoyed that book as well. I'm like starting to get sick. As this video's gone on, I've been like sneezing and getting sick. Whew. So thus concludes my top 7 motivational must-read books. Let me know down below if you guys have read any of the books that I talked about, or if you guys have any to recommend. Definitely let me know, because I'm looking to, you know, add to my list, especially if I'm going to make this a mini series within our bookworm kind of, you know, video. Other than that, I love you guys to the moon and back. I hope you guys have been enjoying Youtober so far, but there's only 10 days left. It's like, it's one of those things where I'm super excited because there's so many projects I want to work on the minute Youtober's over, and I'm really kind of itching to get at them, but I'm also sad because uploading daily with you guys has been so much fun that I feel like I'm gonna miss you guys on a daily basis. And yeah, so I will see all of you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye guys.
Don't you feel like a fraud sometimes? Could be anyone.